Kia ora, Year 12. This is a request from Henry for one of the partial fractions questions in exercise 7D. I haven't done work solutions to all of these, but this is one where we've got the pattern that we saw in class yesterday, and we have to write this here as the sum of partial fractions. So the first thing to check is the order of the numerator. So we've got a quadratic in the numerator and we've got a cubic in the denominator. So that means that we're good to start looking at how to do that breakdown. So this pattern type is one where I've got this 2x minus 1 squared. So the cleanest way to go with breaking this down is the slightly counterintuitive pattern of this. A over x plus b over 2x minus 1 plus c over 2x minus 1 squared. Right, so by breaking it out with this one and this one, it means that we can end up with simple digits, numbers as the a, b, and c. We have a constant in each fraction. We don't have to deal with a linear factor. And that's going to make life better if I need to go on and do something like integration. Okay, so we're going to start off with the usual step of cross-multiplying to get a common denominator. So here we've got 4x squared minus 3 on the left-hand side. Now, look at the a. We have to multiply the a by 2x minus 1 squared to be matching up to this, right? We've already got the x, and so this is the bit we need to times by. With the next term, we've got b over 2x minus 1, so I need to multiply in the x and another 2x minus 1, so it's going to be this. And then the last term is going to be plus c, and all I need to multiply c by to get this common denominator over here is x. So when I look at that, I'm going to do 2 bits by substitution here. I'm going to substitute in x equals 0, and then I'm going to substitute in x equals 1/2. And then the third constant I'll find by using that information. So let's start with the easy one. So let's let x equal 0. On the left-hand side, we get negative 3 is equal to a times negative 1 squared plus b times 0 plus c times 0. I'd like to see you writing this out this slowly. Don't try and just do that substitution in your head, because if you muck up the negative signs, you're going to waste a whole lot of time. Remember that these partial fractions questions are usually the start of a much more involved problem. So negative 3 is equal to a. Well, that was easy. Now let's do the next one. Let x equal 1/2. On the left-hand side, we've got 4 times 1/2 squared minus 3 is equal to a times 0 plus b times 0 plus c times 1/2. That gives me 4 times 1/4, so 1 minus 3 is equal to 1/2 c. Negative 2 is equal to 1/2 c. So c is equal to negative 4. Now I'm going to take those 2 bits of information and I'm going to plonk them back into here, the a and the c. So let's write out this with that new information in it. Just let me get the pen working. Okay, 4x squared minus 3 is equal to negative 3 times 2x minus 1 squared plus bx times 2x minus 1. And then I've got minus cx, right? Sorry, I've got plus cx, so plus negative 4x. There are a couple of ways I can go here. Because we're just starting out with partial fractions, I'm going to expand all of this out to see what we've got here, right? And then I'm going to do some matching. Let's just turn that off. Henry, I hope you're still watching. Right, 4x squared minus 3 is equal to negative 3 times 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 plus, expanding this now, we get 2bx squared minus bx minus 4x. Now remember, I want to group up things, right? So I'm grouping up x squared terms and x terms. It's all about like terms. You don't actually have to go this far. We could start matching now on the x squared, but I'll just show you the kind of full workup and then we'll talk about what we could skip. So here we've got negative 12x squared plus 12x minus 3 plus 2bx squared minus bx minus 4x. So here, what we're going to say next is that this thing has to equal this thing, and it's got to be true for all values of x, right? So the 4 in the x squared has got to equal the coefficient on the x squared stuff here, right? So where are my x squared terms? Well, there's one here and there's one here. So we can just write that 4 is equal to negative 12 plus 2b. That's one way to get b here. Just don't hang up the video yet. I'll show you a couple more. So 16 equals 2b, and that gives us b equals 8. We could have chosen to match on the 0x squared here, right? So if we do that, we're going to have 0 is equal to, well, this is an x term, and this is an x term, and this is an x term. So we get 0 is equal to 12 minus b minus 4, which is 8 minus b. So obviously, again, we get b equals 8. What won't work, though, is we can't match on the constant because we've got negative 3 here, and we've got nothing with a b in it here, right? But so there are two ways to do that. So putting that all together, we end up with 4x squared minus 3 over x into 2x minus 1 squared is equal to negative 3 over x plus, what was b? Plus 8 over 2x minus 1 minus 4 over 2x minus 1 squared. So there you go. I've made this into a video instead of just sending Henry the work solutions because I think you guys can't have enough practice at this repeated pattern. It's definitely the one that students find the most troublesome when they're starting out with the partial fractions work in A-level. So thanks for watching to the end. There is a Dairy Milk Caramello square sitting in front of me that you can have tomorrow in class if you just identify yourself.